Alright, me and Chris are gonna review the latest video that I've posted about 2 tattoos that we've done on our friend's TomTom back, and we're just gonna go over the video basically. So let's watch it. That's when I was starting to play around with the bird on his back. At first, put the gloves on, eh boys?
Originally, we were just trying to work out what space we had to start with, wasn't it? Where to put.
Yeah.
We decided to split it into 2 at this point, didn't we, pretty much?
Yeah.
So we wanted, this was about the time we realized we wanted a clear separation between,
Exactly.
to tie it together.
That's the trick.
This was a case of putting the eagle's head between.
Yeah, that was when the eagle's face, so basically the stencil was one piece, and then of course when you put it on the back, the body's gonna move, so you try to adjust the stencil to it. So I put the stencil first of the eagle, and then the face was not in the center, as you can see in the center of the face of the lady and the flower. So I cut the stencil of the face of the eagle, and I replaced it just to make it perfectly in the middle. So like both spaces on the side of the face was like the same amount of space basically.
It sets the top of the line as well, the top of the hat, and then the top of the flower. It just finishes that. It was a more complete piece then as well.
Exactly. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit better like that. That's when I just freehand a bit of it to the same thing I just did. There as well is when we freehand the barbed wire first.
Yeah,
to see,
figure out roughly where they're going.
Exactly, and then after like sanitizing the skin, we just place the stencil
so
more or less.
Yeah, and it was a case with this of working out where to use repetition, and like, so there's 3 barbs basically that are used in different ways, so it kind of has a continuous feel to it, but then where to put them basically, but that was
There's one thing as well we didn't talk about yet. It was the idea of the back piece was, so basically TomTom, as you can see, his back piece was really ignorant style, French prison kind of vibe, and then he wanted to make his back more complete, more filled. So
it was completely linear to begin with, wasn't it? So we just wanted to put some depth,
exactly,
shading of some.
And I had the idea to make it kind of a story out of it, because I thought it was like, you know, like the warriors, the soldiers, and the lady with the flowers. It feels like there was some negativity on the bottom and there was some happiness on top. So it was, the first idea was to put all barbed wires all behind it to make a kind of like a background. But then we thought it was a bit too much, too intense. So we just put the barbed wire at the bottom of the soldier. So it makes, you know, like kind of a...
Yeah. And it keeps the vision, the way that all their eyes are looking in the same direction and the barb's going that way, it has like a natural flow to it that keeps it kind of going across.
Exactly.
And then it became what we did into quarters almost, wasn't it? So it tied itself together, that the 2 linear ones are like this and then the 2 shaded ones are opposite, so it sort of ties it.
Which makes kind of the negativity like side of the war, you know, it's like war is kind of like dark and negative, and we were trying to see something with the girl looking the other side and something from the future, you know, like so looking for a bright future with the flower.
They're all staring in the same direction, and then like hope's above them almost. So it's like
it's like them going to war, and the lady after war looking at the future, looking something bright, and we're trying to find.
And there's an irony as well, I think, to the pretty girl that they could be thinking about back home that they're going back to, you know, hope and freedom. But then in reality, the girl is quite like the aesthetic of what she looks like is there's almost a comedy value to that, I think, as well. So.
And I think that's to say, hope and freedom. We're trying to find something a design that will match, you know, the top for hope and freedom, and maybe 4 times I've said it already, but is the eagle was like the best option. Hope, freedom, you know, bird flying away.
As well, isn't it?
It's powerful, so. And then it was just more black as well to add to top shoulder. So I think we decided to do this, and I'm pretty happy about it. Don't know what you think, but
yeah, for sure.
TomTom is happy as well. At this.
We figured we were deciding bird route to begin with, wasn't it? And then it was like whether we had numerous ones that were like around the flower, and then it was how much we dwelled on the flower as well, wasn't it? So whether that would be more incorporated, but then obviously it became more powerful, and then the birds went from smaller swallows, swifts, things like that, and then it developed into the eagle eventually, basically.
Exactly. All right, let's keep watching. yeah, try to adjust the barbed wire.
That was a previous.
Freehanding the rest to attach the bits of stencil. So you put like every stencil, how do you call it, like barb basically?
Yeah.
Together, and then he freehanded it.
Just to keep a flow.
Tom looking happy, he didn't look like that at the end of the video.
Little did he know.
He was in pain, motherfucker, he was. Using a chair as a station, don't worry about it.
Needs must.
It was all safe. So we started together, but then the way to do the lines with single needle and both doing on the same time at the beginning was quite, was shaky because I was stretching one side of the skin and the other side he was stretching it. So I think it was really hard at first, so we did it for a few lines and then we stopped and decided to finish my lines, and then when I finished my line to do his lines, and then I started shading and I realized that you're gonna see the shading was easier, so we started doing the shading at the end together to make it faster at the end.
It was quite unusual as a process to be able to have such a pause between your lines and then you had a break for a bit, my lines and I had a break. To be able to come back and see it almost like a fresh tattoo was quite nice
exactly.
afterwards, wasn't it?
I mean, it was the first time as well I was tattooing on the same time as someone else on such a large scale, so it's quite interesting. So like all my lines, I'm doing it with a dark gray wash. So it's not only black, because as I said on a previous video, if you try to line with a single needle and with pure black, the blowout is really easy to make. So I used to use diluted water, ink with water, and I use dark gray. So it works really well for me. And what do you use for the lines?
I was using black to begin with.
Black?
Yeah, I didn't want the focal point of each barb to be individual sort of thing, so all of it just needed like a slightly smudgier feel. It didn't need to be as tight as what Delph was doing with the eagle. The focal point of the piece was basically look into the eagle's face, so individually with this I was able to get away with using black basically to begin with. So
Easy. Wasn't it hard to tattoo this?
Yeah, the side is
love handles. Yeah. Love handles, that's what it's called.
Sorry, Tom.
Tom's love handles.
Also, it was like how much pain he could take as well was questionable to begin with. It was a very long session, so the way that we saw was just, at this stage, we're just protecting the stencil. So we're just trying to keep it in, like get it on basically, and then as you can see, like at that point, it's like, once it's all lined, you can then kind of work back. Certainly, for myself, you don't see any of the lines anyway afterwards, so it's just almost to work from sort of thing. So pretty much blood lining, like it would probably be similar process to that, but like it's just a way that I've learned to do it myself. So like
so blood lining is basically like when you want to outline where you're gonna start shading or where you're gonna put some color. For ourselves, I do that a lot because I line everything with single needle, and then Chris do only outlining with single needle as well. And blood lining, as I said, is to what do you say, to limit,
like protect,
to outline where you're gonna start shading. So like basically we do everything super quick with the single, and most of the tattoo is gonna be shaded anyway, so it doesn't matter if there's ink in it or if it's just it's just gonna be just a light line to show us where we're going to start shading.
The risk we're trying to avoid is if you keep wiping and wiping, the stencil goes away, and then for the amount of detail that we're trying to put in, you're lost then basically. That's the worst case scenario you're trying to avoid. So
exactly. And you can see there I'm doing 9 volt. I was lining with the 8 volt. And then for the shading, it's just a bit faster, so I just use 9 volts, so it goes really easily in the skin. That's it. Happy Delph? I use 7 curved mag to start the shading because it was just faster, if you do everything with a single, it would take forever.
Yeah.
Which I never shade with a single anyway. I shade with 3 Hellafine from Blackwork or 7 buckpin straight from Blackwork, and this was Quadron, I think. And 7 curved. And I was shading only with black for the moment because we wanted also because you can see the back is quite light with just the outlines he's got. So I think to have some depth and some good contrast, I needed the eagles and the barbed wire to really stand out. So we only used black for most of it. I think he used black only for the barbed wire, and I used a bit more gray. medium and dark grey for
the contrast on the barbs is very, very basic though anyway, so there was no real need to put greys in there anyway. Plus the lines are so thick on the rest of what was there, you're competing almost with how dark that is to begin with. So if we were to be using more grey tones and stuff, it's not going to be, your focal point of the finished tattoo is not going to be what we've done basically, so which is what we were trying to avoid.
Yeah, I think I did most of the eagle with the 7 mag, and I've polished it with the 7 tight.
I was
7
using 7 round shader basically for all of it. So 1 black ink, 7 round shader. I lined in a single to hold the stencil like I was saying, but then it was just pretty straightforward basically from that.
Or was that 10 volt? What do you line with?
I use one of the pen machines basically, sort of thing. It's just I run it at 10.
What machine do you use?
Bishop's Rotary, the one. I was like, I can't remember the one thing, like new Bishop Rotary basically, but it's fantastic. I damaged my hand a while back, so it's a lot easier for me to use a smaller machine like that.
It's lighter, I guess. Yeah.
I can get a better angle and stuff.
So you line with 10 or 10?
I always run it at 10. Like that's my friend taught me this, and it works for me as well. You can modulate the speed and everything with your hand because of the way, the action of how you're holding it and things. It's a million times easier to do it.
Cool.
Just to keep it the same.
10 voltage, Bishop Rotary, Bishop pen.
Yeah.
And for the needles, you use
quadrants. Like I've stuck with quadrants for a while, and they seem to work. So I think I used the black claw ones and stuff, but to be honest, for me, the quadrants were fine.
Quadrant single and quadrant 7
round shader. Yeah,
round shader.
It just gave a bit more texture to it. I didn't want any focal point on any of it. It's almost the opposite of what you were doing. So I didn't want one individual barb to stand out more than the other, and I didn't want them all to be really shiny. So it was easier just to pull away with like 7 round.
Sick. That's when I go with the 7 back pin now, just to make more. That was 3 actually. I did buff for the feathers, like to polish it. I used 7 back pin to go faster, and then the 3 hella fine black claw to make more texture and then to be a bit lighter as well. Because you can use 7 back pin with only black ink, and it's gonna be quite dark. If you use a 3, then it's gonna be lighter automatically because the dots are smaller.
We'd realised by this stage we were able to work together as well, since after all the lines and stuff were in, it's just a case of putting the graft in, wasn't it? Just getting the shading in basically to begin with. So.
Exactly.
None of it was from reference either at this point either, was it? So it was all just like logical shading and stuff, wasn't it? So
yeah, no reference. I pretty much never use reference to shading, right? That was all 3. I used a hella fine one from Blackwork because it's really fine. It's almost like single, but the ink flow is, I think, a little bit better.
Packets like you do.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of white, always in the highlights, you know, like I think the eyes needs to pop, so I just put some white. As you can see, it just brings this
focal point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's where you're at, on the whole of his back. Your whole attention is drawn to the eagle's eye. Like that was something that I know you were trying to push for. So
yeah, fully.
I'd stopped tattooing at this point as well because we couldn't get the angles and stuff in, could we?
Yeah, we like our elbows start touching, so
we
we're
just
like
work together. So
yeah, so I stopped. He stopped and I started finishing it, and then I stopped and then he finished his. It was easier.
Yeah, it was much easier for me at this point as well to realise once the eagle was done what I was kind of working against, sort of thing. So it was how much detail I needed to put in to make it like. Effective basically, and it was also the how dark you'd made that. It was then a case of me working out how much I needed to black basically to pack in to kind of make them tight so they look like the same piece rather than just like a background sort of.
Is that when I advise you to put more black to stand out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it was.
Yeah. So at the end, like we were just trying to see where. We're trying to see if the tattoos that we made were complementing the back piece that we had. Yeah. And we could see that it was missing some depth. So yeah, I asked him to put more black on the barbed wire just to create some depth. So just from the side of the tattoos existing already to create some background, you know?
Yep.
And this is what you can see now basically.
Because I wasn't sure whether I wanted it to look like it was going behind, but at this point you were completely correct with that. Also, changing the position was massive as well. Like because 2 of us had been working at the same point throughout the day, like I just like you start, that's what you get used to, so having him lay down, but my God, as soon as he was set up and bent over like forward, it was, the skin is so much easier to stretch. Half the battle with any piece like this is trying to stretch the skin, basically. So obviously, as soon as he's leant forward, like it was a million times easier.
Yeah, because at the beginning he was lying down, tum-tum, and to tattoo the love handles, the bottom of the back, then you need to same him down and like bend forward to stretch the lower back. So at the end of the day, I think it was 7 hours of tattooing already. It was tiring.
He wasn't smiling.
I was like, you should see him down, so it's gonna be way easier. And he did to finish in. It was way easier to do like that.
Yeah, this is like the point you were just saying previously, wasn't it? Just pulling the shading away from like the guys' faces and stuff. It just gave the depth to them, even though they're completely linear and they don't have any shading. It gives the illusion almost like that they're, you know,
behind.
Yeah, but well in front, isn't it? Like they're in the foreground of it, basically.
Yeah.
Same with the flower as well, obviously. Delph did that with the eagle.
That's it.
I think that's what makes it quite effective as a finished tattoo, is to give the completely linear tattoos depth that they didn't have, basically. So.
That's it. I think it looks like a story at the end, which I'm pretty stoked on. You know, like it really looks like it's all like the guys going to war, the girls seeing the hop and freedom after that.
It completed the shape of it as well. It gave it a form, like to fit his back. Like certainly when we were putting the barbs at the bottom, or like what we said previously about the eagle's head, it gave it like a shape to fit his back.
I'm using my phone with a glove, but that was a brand new glove, just to say it. Like it was not like the gloves I used to tattoo with. Yeah, man, it was a good. I think I enjoyed doing this. Next time we should definitely do a collaboration, but more like, you know, together, like the piece, because this one was like reworking on an existing tattoo, but I think next time we should literally combine two pieces together.
Absolutely, you know? It was very, very limited, the space that we had to work with. With this, everything was basically what we could fit in, but in a different dynamic. If anyone wants a collaboration, then get in touch. Like.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well done. All right, just comment below what your thoughts are. If you didn't like it, comment. If you liked it, comment why. And yeah, just tell us what you want to see next time maybe as well. Like it would be interesting to see your opinions about what kind of piece you want to see, what you want to learn. We're not teachers, we're self-taught artists. We're not trying to show anything like this is the way. Everyone does their art in a different way. We're not trying to teach anyone, but if you're interested in what we do, then we explain what we do. And that's it. I hope you guys keep watching the rest of the videos on my channel. And if you want to book in with Chris, the link and his email is down the description, and mine as well. So thanks for watching, and that's it. Bye.